Well, hello, Paradigm Shifters. How are we doing today? Yes, it is. It is Transformation Tuesday again. Do you believe it? And it's, hang on a second. We're going to go live on Facebook here. It is Transformation Tuesday, and it is May 7th. Oops. Today's May 16th. May 16th, 2023. 2023. And welcome to Paradigm Shifters. Paradigm Shifters, we are a growing, dedicated community. Amen, Patricia.
Amen, sister.
And we're dedicated to shift and uplift the planet. And we've been going strong every Tuesday since March 2020. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And each month we bring to you a different topic that kind of downloads as we proceed through this growth space. And this month for May is a passion for the possible. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing. And so I'm so, and we bring in guest speakers. And so I'm so thrilled to present our guest speaker for today. Hang on a second. Is my good friend and colleague, Patricia Campbell from Canada, right? Now, Patricia is an award winning certified transformational coach, very inspiring speaker, best selling author, and I love this wildly successful entrepreneur who is at the forefront of the movement to empower women. From a struggling single teenage mom to a self made millionaire, her extraordinary story of transforming her own life is the inspiration behind her bold mission. I love this, Patricia. You have a bold mission to teach other women it is possible to create lives they absolutely love. I can't wait to hear you speak. Your determination and resilience have inspired women for over 20 years.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about this, but you reached a rock bottom at the age of 37. Yeah. And you committed to create the life you dreamed was possible. And so you've been studying for 30 years or more, right? And you're immersing yourself in personal growth. And you've studied with Mary Morrissey, Lisa Nichols, and Dr. Claire Zammit. And you now facilitate programs and workshops for women based on the vast wisdom accumulated over all these years. So with I know, and you said, oh, I can't wait to talk about passion. So I'm going to turn this over to you, and yeah, here you go. It's all yours. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, Judy, thank you for inviting me to be here. It truly is my honor and my absolute pleasure. And I hear you introduce me, and it still blows my mind, quite honestly, that I was once a struggling single teenage mom, and now I've created a multi-million-dollar enterprise doing what I love that does make a difference, that is my passion. And I will talk a little bit about that story. So sometimes I ask more questions than things that I tell as well, because I think that the discovery phase of who you're becoming or who you would love to become is what's most important. So my question is, to begin, is what does it take to become wildly successful? What does it take? So I believe that it takes grit, it takes grace, it takes growing into a completely new version of yourself. And that takes a lot of passion. And there was a time for me when I thought that to become wildly successful, it took a lot of hard work. And sometimes we have a tendency to keep doing something over and over again. It's a pattern that we, even if it's not working, even if we're not getting the result that we want, we just keep trying harder. So has that ever happened for any of you? It happened for me. And so let me tell you that there was a time in my life that And Judy, you mentioned it, so I'll tell you a little bit about, who I am and why I'm here, and why I do have this bold mission is that when I was 37, 1990, I did hit what I felt was my rock bottom. I was twice divorced, living in a rented basement suite in the east side of Vancouver. And one night I got into a heated argument with my daughter because I didn't love how she was living her life. And the words that flew out of my mouth made me feel like a failure as a mom and as a woman. And I saw that I felt like she was following in my footsteps. And when I lashed out at my very beautiful daughter, I realized that it was my mother's voice that came out of my mouth. And, bless my mom, she did the best she could, but I didn't want to be her and I didn't want to live her life. And so I made a promise to myself that night that I would do whatever it took to become successful as a woman and to create a life that my daughter might be proud to follow. But at least I would create the path that I was proud that I would leave. And flash forward, I was 37, and in my early 50s, I was actually 52.
Flashlight is off. Let me know if you want to turn it on.
Siri's bringing in lights.
Oh, okay. Goodbye, Siri.
You gotta love a good distraction. Good gracious.
Oh,
So
yeah, I'm just like, failure as a mom, and it's like, yeah. So I'm leaning in here too. I think we have daughters that are about that same age, and then grandkids too. So
right,
keep going on and breaking that cycle. So keep going on. I turned Siri off.
okay, yeah, well, it's okay. Siri leaned in as well. It's all good. So it's okay. Give me a moment to breathe. It's my story. It will probably always move me. So flash forward, when I turned 52, I found myself in a specialist office. And I thought, well, I'm going through menopause and I'm really tired, not loving my life. I'd lost whatever passion I did have. And I thought, I'm going through menopause. I've heard about bioidentical hormones. Just give me some of those. How about some testosterone or something, right? And so, oh, excuse me, man. And so what the doctor said, he did some tests and he said to me, you bet, I'll give you some testosterone and some hormones. But he said, my dear, he said, you are completely burned out.
Oh.
Right. And I thought, you have to be kidding me. So I made a promise to myself, and this is how it's going to end. I don't think so. Like, what I get for all the hard work that I did was my marriage is on the rocks. I'm feeling like I can't barely sometimes make it through the day. The work that I thought I loved, I had lost any passion for it that I ever had. And I thought, no, it is not ending this way. It is not ending this way. And so and what was most frustrating is that I had done a lot of work. I had done a lot of personal growth. However, I in my journey then to shift, and you talk about paradigm shifters. So for those of you that are shifting paradigms, I still had a deeply ingrained paradigm that it was strong work, hard work was what it took. And that's what got me the result that I had. Was I had worked hard. I was successful. On the outside, it looked pretty good. But man, on the inside, I had lost my spark. And I had lost my passion. If I ever really did know how to tap into it. See, I was sourcing my power from everything externally, from the love that I thought my husband should be giving me, that he wasn't, from the work that I was doing, from the money going into the bank account, which is the outer trappings. I want to use the word trappings of success. And so I took some time. My doctor recommended, he said, I recommend a minimum of 1 year that you take time. And he also said, see a therapist. I thought, wow, like how serious is this? It scared me, quite frankly. And so I took
I love that you were talking about that, in that 50s, the beginning 50s. And I was talking to my other daughter about that this morning. And, and the forgiveness work goes with that. So anyway, keep going on because we're on this timeline, aren't we? This
right?
timeline of life, and boom.
Right? We are. We absolutely are, Judy. And I took some time. And when I really dived in and started to take a deeper look at, okay, well, then what is this belief that's gotten me to where I am today? That whilst I've made changes, things look good on the outside, what's still missing for me? And so I took the time, I did some deeper transformational work, and I began a whole new journey. And I know, and what happened for me is that my spark then it lit up, and my spark became a flame of passion, and then my flame became a fire. And that's what I want to talk about is, yeah, the fire of passion that we can lose along the way of, where we say we want to go if we don't have the right tools. If we look at shifting our paradigms from how do we really create what we would love by, and today we're going to talk about, there are so many things, but today, passion. And, and let me tell you, I just celebrated 30 years with the guy that my marriage was on the rocks, because that was the third marriage. I was pretty committed, and I am doing what I love. And so let's talk a little bit about passion, because anything's possible. I mean, look at what you've all transformed. Look at what I've transformed. We all know somebody along the way that's had a passion for something and accomplished. I think of Mother Teresa, Oprah, right? Like so many people, and probably you all know people in your lives that have accomplished something that looks miraculous. And so I looked it up, passion. What is it? What does it say in the dictionary? Right? So, Judy, passion says a strong and barely controllable emotion. It says an intense desire or enthusiasm for something, or a thing that arouses enthusiasm. Doesn't it? It just sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's passion. It's
Right?
I love that word. I love that word. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And
It's a feeling word. Yeah.
it is a feeling. And so, because and passion is that feeling. So, two things I look at, well, how do we lose our passion? And it can happen, in any moment on any day, or slowly, and we don't realize that we lose it sometimes by getting overworked, overtired, losing sight of our dream, losing sight of our vision. So, more importantly, how do we arouse our passion? So that really high vibration that has us stay committed to what we say we want, because we all know it, there's really no, sprinkle magic fairy dust. We don't write a vision and everything just starts to happen like that. No, there is some rigor. There is a journey. It does require really becoming a whole new version of yourself, a person that you have not yet known yourself to be, but yet sense you have the possibility to be, right? So how do we stay committed to that? So let's dive into that for just a minute then. So one of the ways I believe is to really focus on the possibilities that are right now, right in front of you. Like if you could imagine just a spot for yourself, a life to live from that would cause you to feel awake, alive, what would that look like? And I know if you all follow Judy and you listen to her, this won't be completely new to you. I'm probably just the reminder, but we forget. Our paradigms give us amnesia, and we forget. We get caught in the busyness of life, in the to-do, and life's moving fast these days, don't you think? So what do is we really imagine a spot, like a place we want to be. I always see, for some reason, a stream with some running water. There's a mountain, a life to live from that causes you to feel awake and alive. And then write a prescription to the universe. To me, that's your vision, right? What does that really mean for you? And then examine what it is that you truly desire. So putting yourself in what I call full spectrum wealth, a wealthy mindset. And it starts with desire. Like for me, I lost my spark. That's why I burned out. Yes, he gave me some, it was menopause. Sure, that was all, yes, I had some physical help. But the difference was that I tapped inside into the spark, into my soul, back into my heart about what did I desire? Because my full dream wasn't to be successful and burned out, not have relationships. So starting with your desire and then follow it with the willingness to do something different. Like, are you willing to do what you've never done before? Are you willing to say what you've never said before? Judy and I talked about it in a certain, at a certain place in our life. It's, we somehow give ourselves more permission, at least as women. I'm sure there are men in the group too. And I don't know for sure about men because I work with women and I'm a woman, but I know that sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to be who we sense we have the possibility to be.
So it takes that C word, courage.
Yes.
So now and so tell me about, if you would, what was it that you did that was the courage, where the courage to actually do something different? What was that? What did you do? Where were you in that moment where you like gulp and push through?
Well, I think, Judy, part of it was a wake up call for me. And I believe that we only ever change one of two ways. Either we're supported, like all of you are supported in Judy. Excuse me, I'm going to move my mic because I keep tapping it. So let me just move that. So we either change because we get supported to make a change that we sense is possible, or we get a little wake up or a big wake up call. So I had a wake up call and I assessed my the quality of my life. Yes, it had changed, but it still wasn't what I desired it to be. And so then I started to examine that, and I took stock. And I think at some stage of many people's lives at certain ages, I was blessed in a way that I did it at that age. And it was, and then we think that's this great big, I believe in quantum leap, but we think often, okay, it's this great big, suddenly everything's going to, shift 100%. Well, it's not. It was baby step by baby step by baby step. I looked at what I was longing for that was missing. And then I looked at what I was discontent with. And I just started to really, I looked at writing that down. And so what would it feel like if I really believed, if I had the, you said courage, if I had the courage to believe in myself and believe anything was possible, what would I want? And then, of course, there was the work that came along to begin to, slowly but surely. And then every now and again, there was a quantum leap because I stayed the course, because I did the work. And the thing of it is, I think, the challenge that many of us faced, that I faced, was that we do get tired and we can get stuck in complacency, living less than what we're passionate about. We lose hope. We don't get the support. Most of us in the world do not have the support that it takes to even create a vision we can believe in, and then to take the steps and the action and keep believing that we can that we can create, that we don't even know how powerful we are as creators. So we get stuck in it's a pattern. It's the paradigm that Judy teaches you all about all the time. So we play small, we don't shine our light, we lose hope, we contract instead of expanding into this feeling of possibility. And so when an idea of possibility comes up, I think of the Wright brothers or, Edison, all of these things that have ever been created. So, we get at this idea or this little spark. And if your programming says, oh, I can't do that, then simply say something like, okay, up until now, and I know Judy has taught you all this, up until now, I haven't been able to. And then what I would offer and what I would give you for, I love homework, although I call it life work, is, and here for me is the best question, is how do you raise your passion? Because it will be different for all of us, although we can learn from each other and there will be similarities. So how do you feel more? It's that feeling you started off by saying, Judy, of aliveness, of just like, it's for me, it's in my chest, it's in my gut. I feel excited is how I feel. And I feel, probably 20 years younger than really I am. And I feel like anything is possible. I start to believe. So the question is, so Judy, let's you and I maybe just share one or two ideas, like how do you raise your passion?
Well, for me, when I was first starting to do this work, or probably always and sometimes it's guilt, feeling like, oh my gosh, can I really do that?
Right.
It's going back when I was a child and being outside all the time and in the woods and hanging out with the squirrels and all that fun stuff. And I knew that it was timeless and there was no other people around, just the critters. And so I know that going back and touching that and saying, okay, what if I could, and then I spent my career inside a classroom, four walls, not knowing what season it was outside. And then I'm like, when I left that, in my first very vision that I ever wrote, um, I wrote that I know now to write it differently, but at first is I will never work in four walls again. It will, and so I don't. I don't, except like right now because that's where the computer is. But that had to be like a non-negotiable, a core value of mine. And so now tapping back into where it was when I was a kid, where I felt totally free, I brought that in 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and it gradually grew. And even now, if I have a lot of work in front of my computer or, this, I take breaks, passion breaks. I also have a passion for, well, you're going to laugh, but Happy Meals. McDonald's Happy Meals.
Yes.
You go through and you get the box with the toys, and it's like, oh, okay, I can do. And it's like getting into like that. Okay, I know I'm 70, but I'm gonna get a Happy Meal. Nobody cares. And also, I have a passion for going to the park, and they have splash pads for the little kids. That they're fountains, and there's no age limit on that either. And so there's different things where that's there. And then sometimes when I feel like I'm in with grown-ups, being a certain way, I can do that, but in my mind, I'm at the splash pad, And so, anyway, that's how, for me, to going back to where it was when I was a kid. So
that is brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Well, if we want to live a greater life of abundance, we really have to install new patterns to operate our life from, right? It's interesting. Childlike curiosity. And, you said at the beginning that, you said, I will never do something. And we're either running towards something or away from something. So you were, moving or running away from something that you were discontent with. And so for me, the life that I lived, I never really had childlike curiosity. I think I was an adult when I was very young. But for me, it's sort of a little bit similar, because when I look at, I know that there's a certain way I don't want my life to end up. And so when I tap into that, it provokes a feeling in me that, oh, wake up a little bit more. And then I look at my daughter, my grown daughter, and my grown granddaughter, and my gosh, she's, in her late 20s now. I look at them and I think, okay, wait a minute, that also sparks me to, okay, let me generate that state inside of myself, which we all have the ability to do. We just have never been taught that. And one thing that works for me is really great music.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that will just get me in what I say. It's out of my head, out of my paradigms, and into my heart, into my soul, into my passion. And then once I've got that energy flowing inside of me, the possibilities really feel endless, and they feel really possible. So yeah. So homework for everybody that's listening: how do you raise your passion? How do you feel more alive, more awake, and more able to believe in the possibilities that are seated inside of you?
I love it. How do you make it? I'm writing this down. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And you know, you have your book there. You just published a book. Was that last year? Tell us a little bit about that, because that must have been a passion.
That Judy, was I'm going to almost say a lifelong dream. That was the one thing as a kid. I loved books. I loved reading. My safe place was always the library. I can remember the smell of the library that my mom took me to when I was young. And at some place along the way, you know, that's a story of passion and possibility, because I would start and stop, had no support. And I would, at one point, I thought, oh, you're just imagining that you could write a book. And so I put it aside until I got the support of, you know, working in the programs, you know, such as you, and having a coach like you. And it's part of what had me become a coach, is that when I was supported, I revived my passion again. And I started to believe this could be possible. And it really is. It's 8 steps for women to create a life they absolutely love, and it's based on my journey, my story, and it's based on shifting paradigms. So, you know, it is what it's all about.
That is so cool.
Never ever give up, because that's
ever give up. I love that. I just love it. I remember when that came out, and you know, the work that involves, like, it's rigorous. Like, okay, and it is so worthwhile, because as our mission for my personal mission is not just to shift and uplift this generation, but all the generations that follow. And when you're a writer with books, that's like on and on and on and on, just like, you know, YouTube and all this other fun.
That's my prayer. That is it. That women that, you know, don't have access to come and be supported, that it is a tool that gives women. And I say, I mean, they're universal principles. So yes, these do work for men. It's just, I keep talking about women because I work with women, but that give us access, that give us the tools, that give us the insight to really create whatever we would love. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Well, we have one more question. Is what we would love as a community, as a shifting paradigm shifters community. And thank you for sharing your gifts with us. What could we hold as a community for you? What would you love us to hold for you?
Oh, wow. You sparked something in me, and that's a really great question. So what I would love for you to hold with me, and thank you for that, because there's so much power in community and support energetically, is that I would love to reach 1 million women with, whether it's my book, my message, the speaking engagements that I do, the coaching I do, but I have a dream to reach 1 million women with the message that you absolutely can create and live a life that you love.
Okay. Now, so you're up in Canada. It's up for me. Okay.
It's true,
so
yes.
We're going to create energy here, and you receive it. The law of receiving. Okay. So you guys ready? All right. So wherever you are, no matter what you're watching this, we're going to send energy to Patricia Campbell. Never ever give up. Ready to receive? Here we go. Gotta keep feeling.
Thank you. Wow. And, you know, and I'm going to, what I'll also, is to take a minute and I'll breathe that in. And, you know, I'm going to say, so paradigm, you know, shifters, all of you, yes, post post, spread the word, share the love, share the possibility, share anything that you're passionate about, and inspire just even one other person. Because the thing that I know when I get a little bit hooked on what I'd love to accomplish and create is that if one life changes in any way because we said something that we have never said before or did something we've never done before, then that's the purpose of us having been here. I just want to say that's the possibility of our
Amen.
purpose in here.
Thank you so much. Wow. Alrighty. Well, thanks so much for doing this. Amen and amen. And that is a
Amen.
wrap.